First of all, the biggest of the binary, a G-type star with a mass slightly higher than Kerbal. It holds 3 planets and a massive asteroid with a less enormous moon. This star is at a special place where every night side of the planet it contains has a site of the binary, Nova Kerbani A and B. Let's go through what this system has. Alva is the first and the closest planet to its host star. It could have been an oasis for life to thrive with a radius and gravity of about half of Kerbin. However, radiation from the massive star is thrown to Alva all the time, heating the planet to high temperatures, from 300 degrees Celsius just inside the atmosphere. Scientists believe that it was once a possible asylum for life, yet it got too close to its star to have striking high quantities of radiation, warming the planet to high temperatures. Scientists also believe water once roamed the planet. Impacts could have contributed to high heat too, but research is yet to prove this. Despite the brutal conditions, Alva can be the analog for the future uninhabitable Kerbin. Blalo is the second planet from Kerbin A. It lies on the Goldilocks zone, the imaginary zone where a planet has the perfect conditions for water, where microbial life is most likely to thrive, considering the temperature is perfect. Blalo is the fireworks in a sad and empty town. Despite the habitability, it still has a gravity about 10% higher than Kerbin, and a colder temperature than Kerbin's. With incredible trees and interstellar waters, astronomers refer to it as perfect. Blalo is ideal for voyagers, as soon-to-be colonizers. Surprisingly, Blalo holds 4 moons, something a terrestrial or rocky planet usually can't have. Ito is a tiny asteroid that orbits Blalo very close, yet not too close to be ripped apart by tidal forces. It is also a shepherd moon, the herder to the sheep of Blalo. It has a radius 133% smaller than the moon, 420% smaller than Kerbin, and about 450% than Blalo. It has a low gravity with only about 0.05% of Kerbin and Blalo's. With the low gravity comes a slightly difficult with getting an encounter, and Ito's proximity serves a massive and astonishing sight of Blalo from its surface. Lane is the second largest and second closest moon of Blalo, with a radius of about 1/5 of Blalo. It has a low gravity of about 10% that of Blalo's. Lane serves a beautiful sight of Blalo from the surface. Astronomers believe that Lane has formed the same time Blalo also did, with craters coming from the impact that has created Blalo's strong impact. Lane serves as the history book of Blalo's formation. Rav is another small moon in the Blalian system. Its radius is about half that of the moon, and gravity about 1% of Kerbin's. But its uniqueness is a massive crater, so massive that it has covered an entire hemisphere of Rav. Astronomers are baffled how this has happened. A brilliant theory was proposed that a collision with another moon slightly smaller than Rav formed inside the Blalian system. Alar is the largest moon that Blalo has. It has a radius of 1/4 of Blalo's with a gravity of about 15% of Blalo's. Its views of Blalo might not be pretty, but it is the guard of the Blalian system, including Blalo itself. It protects the asteroids that threaten Blalo and any thriving life. The third planet from Kerbani A, Orus, is a frozen world engulfed by snow and ice, having an albedo slightly higher than the moon. Orus' radius is about 10% smaller than Kerbin, making it a Kerbin analog considering that Kerbin froze. Life is not known to thrive in situations like this, but astronomers think microbial life could start on water pockets around Orus. Yet colonization is still possible in cases like this. Despite the freezing conditions on the surface, Orus is a gorgeous planet with thin rings like Blaalo and two tiny yet majestic moons. Io is a small moon that has resulted from the remains of the collisions between moons of Orus. With a radius of only 4% of Orus and a gravity of 1% Kerbins, Io is indeed a tiny rubble pile. With Io being a coalesced pile of debris from the past, it is recommended by astronomers and other people with inquisitiveness in astronomy to research this moon to gain knowledge of Orus' violent history. Odd is a huge asteroid in Kerbal terms, yet a miniature moon with properties marginally analogs to Gili. With a radius of about 20% of Gili and gravity 60% of Gili, it's safe to say that it's a little bit like Gili. It also contains its property of being a captured asteroid, a highly eccentric and inclined orbit. Astronomers aren't thoroughly verifying this theory, but they believe it is a highly possible reason. Studying this moon can help know the origin of Odd and theoretically indicate how the Nova Kerbani system has formed. The binary asteroid Mork and Lark is in fact the first dwarf planet found beyond the solar system. Mork has a radius of only 0.5% Kerbins and a gravity of 4% Kerbins. Lark is even smaller with a radius 1/4 of Mork and gravity of 2% Mork's gravity. Thanks to their pale appearance and very common craters, the two might not look attractive to visit. Yet, it is still intriguing because both are stable, which is deemed rare by astronomers and the person behind the discovery. Unlike the planets of Kerbani A, the binary has an inclined orbit. Despite this, it has an orbital resonance with Blaalo and Orus, making it easier to go to either planet. The next star of the system, Nova Kerbani B. This K-type star is the less massive star of the binary and is considered a calm star. It hosts 3 planets with properties that astronomers thought to be places of interest. Keith is a rather impressive planet. It has hostile conditions like scorching biomes and volcanoes dotted around the planet. It is 17% larger than Kerbin and has a gravity 30% higher than Kerbin's, making this planet a hell world and a massive unforgiving one. Research shows that Keith can reach temperatures of up to 900 degrees Celsius. Anyone who risks landing here without any protective gear would be boiled immediately. It is virtually impossible to land here, but ambitious civilizations could. Further, analysis of Keith can show the effects of proximity to the host star and what receiving too much radiation would do for the fate of the solar system. Kale is a desolate planet the size of Duna, with it only being 5 kilometers larger than Duna. Additionally, its surface gravity is 55% weaker than Duna's. Regardless of Kale being a barren rock without an atmosphere, an attractive property of Kale is that it's tectonically active for reasons scientists can't fully understand yet, therefore having ruptures and rifts around the planet. Hypotheses propose that Kale is shrinking gradually, but in a disorderly way. Quakes and trembles are part of Kale's history, and scientists believe it continues until now. Syro is a hellish planet that lives up to its name. It reaches temperatures of more than 100 degrees Celsius. It could have been livable with a radius just shy of 90% and gravity 85% of Kerbin's. This toxic planet is theorized to have been Kerbin-like, but it has heated up and become the hell world we see now due to arbitrary events. It could have been the hush of a glamorous world. Volcanic activity could have been reduced on Syro, making it a hell world with minimal activity. It contains 2 moons around its system, one with increased tidal activity and one with a dull-looking property. Tur is an intruding moon of Sirius since it has a canyon, a crack on its crust, on the equator with a radius 1/4 of the moon's, and an average Kerbal could say that it's not a big moon, depending on one's look at the large one. Theories from astronomers show that Tur broke apart once and was bound again by gravity. But these are all speculations until further research of Tur is done. Theia is a rather pale moon. It is about 20% larger than Tur, with gravity 75% stronger, yet Theia's gravity is still at 8% Kerbin's. Despite the blandness, Theia still is an excellent place worthy of visiting. Theia has a crater that looks like it has a few smaller craters within it. Colonization is optimal because it has a low gravity and is manageable to access. Elno, the latest planet discovered in the Nova Kerbani B system, is the most distant planet from its star. Unfortunately, it has not formed within the Goldilocks zone of Kerbani B. Therefore, this planet is an icy world that could have been a haven for microbial life to flourish. It is 3% smaller than Kerbin. Thus, it could be classified as an Earth-like planet if it hasn't froze. This freezing world could reach up to -60 degrees Celsius, an excellent place for you to get sick or maybe freeze to death. In theory, Elno could be habitable if Nova Kerbani B happens to extend its habitable zone in known circumstances, like star expansion. It holds magnificent rings that can be seen widespread around the planet. It also has a small moon around it. Anuk is the only moon of Elno, and surprisingly, this moon brought some astonishment. Despite having only 6% the radius of Kerbin, its gravity is the lowest in the Nova Kerbani B system, with only 2% of Kerbin's. This makes it great for primary colonists who prefer low-gravity celestial bodies devoid of an atmosphere. And what's surprising about this moon is that it appeared to be a foreign body, a celestial body not relative to Elno. Hypotheses indicate that Anuk is a dwarf planet snatched by Elno's gravity when a flyby occurred in the past. How that could have worked is still obscure. Issues with this theory are also trying to be found out, so the additional study of Anuk could see its origin. Proximus Kerbani is the furthest of the three stars. It is also the nearest to Kerbal, but it has a high gravity, therefore lowering the sphere of influence of planets, making it harder for Kerbals. Proximus is a red dwarf, smaller and less massive than Kerbal. It also has a long lifespan and is colder than average stars. But this star is easily not your friend. Scientists believe that some red dwarf stars spew vast amounts of radiation, harmful to thriving life on any orbiting exoplanet around the star. Arrow is a planet with two sides, one with an everlasting day and hellfire, always seeing the glare of day and radiation bathed. One with an endless night, never seeing the light of day, and always being a freezing abyss. It is 47% smaller than Kerbin's, yet it's hotter than the average temperature in Kerbin, with an average of about 250 degrees Celsius. But the night side has a lamentable temperature as well. Scientists have not calculated the temperature of the night side, but further research can indicate the temperature. The day side contains a lava sea made of low melting metals. It is also tectonically active with lots of volcanic activity going on. The night side, however, has lots of ice. Narath is the first planet discovered around Proximus. Scientists also found it within the Goldilocks zone, which excited them as life can exist. Yet, after scientists' additional analysis was conducted, it might not be very habitable. It has a massive gravity, making landing and ascent on the surface hard for whoever wants to go there. It also has a thin atmosphere, making Narath bombarded by lethal radiation. Narath has plentiful resources dispersed around the planet despite the unforgiving circumstances, which is excellent for colonizers with plans of building swarms of infrastructure all around the Proximus system. Xi'an is an ice world orbiting on the outskirts of Proximus' habitable zone. Ice and snow have encapsulated around the whole planet. Regardless of its distance from Proximus, it was theorized that Xi'an was a haven for life to form and thrive. Yet it has slowly frozen over the long term and is now the icy planet we see. This theory is not finalized, as another superior theory has been proposed by scientists, who say that Xi'an formed as a frozen world, but over the long term it will heat up and ice will defrost. Research up close will finish the history of the theory battle, and we can now know the history of Xi'an and other planets with the same conditions. Nead is the only moon of Xi'an, and it is small, having a radius of only 2 kilometers. Due to the small radius, astronomers didn't find this moon immediately. This moon is considered to be the coldest remains of a massive impact on Xi'an. Nead offers a fantastic view of Xi'an for everyone to be astonished. For colonization, it is also suitable as it is easy to access for transportation. Elias is the only planet made of gas on the whole Nova Kerbani system, so visiting this would be extravagant. It is enormous with a radius 3 times larger than Kerbin's. It plays the role of defending the planets of Proximus from debris that will impact the planet. It contains 3 moons around the planet. Ernal is the closest moon to Elias, and thanks to this proximity, it has plenty of tectonic activity in the form of quakes and geysers. It is 25% smaller than the moon and only possesses 8% Kerbin's gravity. Ice geysers are dappled around the moon because the moon is close to Elias. It is splendid for interstellar visitors to visit the moon and what it holds. Nis is the second closest moon to Elias. It might look bland, but it shouldn't be judged too quickly. It holds remarkable and intriguing properties for whoever would visit it. It is 40% bigger than Ernal and weirdly has 85% lesser gravity despite being larger than Ernal. It is believed that it is an icy moon, but it was covered in dust of mysterious origin. Scientists believe that patches of ice all around Nis could hold what life needs to thrive. As usual, further investigation can help verify primitive life on the ice of Nis. Is just a tiny moon orbiting Elias on the outskirts of its sphere of influence. It is small, with a radius of just 3 kilometers. An excellent idea on how this tended to be on Elias is a captured comet once in orbit of Proximus. Due to Elias' enormous sphere of influence, it managed to capture this asteroid. Theories are still being researched on how this moon got its place in Elias. We have seen a massive system that holds many sublime and heavenly treasures. Some had hellish states, some had shivering conditions, yet some had the ideal conditions for life to form and grow. What makes this trinary system and its planets special is its dynamic and unique states. Every single planet and moon contains at least one fascinating property. Some might be unforgiving, some might attempt to burn or freeze you. But what's significant about them is that they are unique and it is delightful.
untouchable like a distant diamond sky.